The line outside the gymnasium at Indiana's New Albany High School stretched well beyond the gymnasium doors, until they opened to allow inside the hundreds who had come to hear the town's favorite hooping son announce his college choice. There, they saw two big TV screens playing a loop of highlights from Romeo Langford's games. And then, at the appointed time of 7 p.m. Okay, a good bit passed, because 4 speakers preceded him, including the family minister, and there also was a short documentary. Langford made his announcement with baseball caps with the logos of Vanderbilt, Indiana and Kansas arranged on the podium in front of him. Langford said, "I want to thank everyone for coming out to share this special moment with me. That being said, I will continue my education and basketball career at..." And then Langford reached for the red ball cap with the U stitched on the front. Indiana University. Langford is a 6'5" guard, rated the consensus number 5 prospect in the national class of 2018 and was named the state's Mr. Basketball over the weekend, joining such past winners as Greg Oden, George McGinnis and Glenn "Big Dog" Robinson. Langford is the first top 10 recruit to sign at U since number 10 Cody Zeller of Washington, and became part of the Hoosiers' 2011 class. Zeller also was the last Indiana Mr. Basketball to join the Hoosiers. Zeller staged a similar ceremony to choose his school back then, with a gym full of his school's fans and Hoosiers supporters dearly hoping he would choose their school. New Albany coach Jim Shannon called Langford a shy individual. He does not seek the spotlight, but the spotlight seeks him, and then Shannon announced that Langford's No. 1 Bulldogs jersey is being retired, with a ceremony to be planned for a home game next season. Shannon called Langford this generation's Oscar Robertson or Damon Bailey. Robertson scored 2,973 career points at Cincinnati and has a National College Player of the Year award named for him and is part of the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. Bailey scored 1,741 points at Indiana and played several years in the Continental Basketball Association. So there's a lot of room between the two for Langford to find a place to land. The family minister compared him to Abraham Lincoln, but did not set a lower bar for Langford to clear from a character standpoint. People asked why it took so long to come to this decision, said Romeo's father, Tim Langford. There was never any hurry. It was all about making the right decision. It probably did not hurt Indiana's cause that 2 of the schools that originally interested Langford, Louisville and Kansas, wound up being tangled in the Justice Department's investigation of the basketball talent game. Louisville was identified in the original charging documents regarding its recruitment of forward Brian Bowen, and the accusations regarding the Cardinals ultimately led to coach Rick Pitino being dismissed. Langford subsequently cut all from the list of schools he was considering. Kansas remained a finalist, but its concerns surfaced more recently, in a superseding indictment against former Adidas executive Jim Gatto released in April that include allegations payments had been arranged to send 2 players, forward Billy Preston, who enrolled but never played, and forward Silvio De Souza, to coup. Vanderbilt had no such issues and already had signed 2 top 15 prospects, point guard Darius Garland and forward Simi Shida. Langford chose to stay closer to home, however. You signed 3 4-star prospects, forward Jerome Hunter, wing Damazi Anderson and point guard Robert Finessy, and 1 3-star prospect, forward Jock Forrester. In the 2018 class, Anderson and Finessy are from Indiana high schools. Indeed, though they may eventually score more points and win more games by sticking around for longer careers, none is as important to the future of the program as Langford. He is the player who can help return Indiana to the NCAA tournament after missing in 2018 with a 16-15 record. Langford is a highly economical player. He is not just efficient, he does not waste a moment or a movement. Although he averaged 35.5 points as a high school senior and finished his career as Indiana's No. 4 career scorer with more than 3,000 points, he is a capable playmaker who can set up teammates for scoring opportunities. He also can help re-establish Indiana as a force in Indiana. It would stand to reason a program with such history in a state with such a strong talent base would have such a position almost by default, but the rotation on the most recent Hoosiers team included only single recruited player, forward Colin Hartman, who played high school ball in the state. It is not as though you signed every one of the state's Mr. Basketball winners during Knight's tenure. He signed 12 of them between 1971 and 2000, 2 of whom, Luke Recker and Delray Brooks, transferred away before completing their careers. However, each one of Knight's 3 NCAA championship teams included an elite contributor who'd been Mr. Basketball center Kent Benson of Newcastle on the 1976 team, Ray Tolbert of Madison Heights in 1981 and Steve Alford of Newcastle in 1987. The last Mr. Basketball signed by Knight and his staff was Jared Jeffries of Bloomington North, and he also led Indiana to its most recent NCAA Final Four appearance in 2002. Since the tumult created by the dismissal of Knight, however, Indiana has landed the state's most top high school player far less often. Only 4 of the 17 winners became Hoosiers, including Cody Zeller, 2011, and Jordan Hulse, 2009, of Indiana's 2013 Big Ten championship team. The signing of Zeller was followed by a 6-year drought. That history presented itself as a hurdle when Archie Miller took over the Indiana program in March 2017, but the greater obstacle was the reality of recruiting in the 21st century. It happens at a much more accelerated pace than a decade or 2 ago. Many of the class of 2019 prospects who competed in major non-scholastic events sponsored by Nike and Under Armour this past weekend in the Indianapolis area already have established lists or favorites, and they won't begin playing college basketball for 17 months. Miller understood this when he took the Indiana job, but he also recognized the importance of making a serious attempt at grabbing Langford's attention. When Langford spoke with Sporting News last June at the USA basketball trials for the U19 national team, he said Miller had already said Langford was the Hoosiers' main target in the 2019 class. Especially considering I was an in-state kid, Langford said, just like if I was to commit there, all the things that come with Indiana. That was his main pitch to me.